Hey Dave, my name is Katie Colville. I'm an age group athlete out of Atlanta, Georgia. So I've been around the block a little bit. I've been training for triathlons for about 10 years. I'm about to go to my third Kona World Championship in the 25 to 29 age group. And I've been working on for years to get my bike legs stronger. I've become a very decent runner. My goal is to probably run 7:30s to 7:15s for the marathon this year. You know, lots of things go into it, but I've been constantly struggling with my bike. I can ride decently, but it's definitely up to the marathon for me to pull it off. I'm wondering, what are your suggestions on how to become a stronger cyclist? Um, I do train with power. I have a kicker. I ride outdoors. I train with heart rate. But just curious as to what you think go into making athletes stronger on the bike. So I'm a decent runner. I'm frustrated by my bike because I've really been putting a lot of work in and wonder what I'm missing. I would love for an answer for this question. If not, it's totally okay. I hope you have a great day.
This is a great question. I'm Dave Scott, and I'm going to try to wrestle with the magnitude of this question. I just want to preface this that we cover a lot of this in the Dave Scott Tri Club membership program, and I get a huge amount of questions on running, cycling, swimming, biomechanics, nutrition, mobility, flexibility, strength. The list is kind of endless, and I answer all the personal questions in great detail. This particular question is a big one, and the question was on how do I improve my cycling prowess or my strength or my power output. And there's really kind of four areas, and again, I'm just going to touch on these. Number one, you want to make sure that you're changing your gearing load. The tendency is when we go out and ride, we're always in our choice gear, and I'll call it your time trial gear. So when you warm up, you're in your normal cadence, maybe 90 RPMs. When you're time trialing, 90 RPMs, bigger gear. My first suggestion is that to increase muscle tension, you can do two things. One, you can go into a bigger gear or a harder gear, and my suggestion is that you come down about 10% from your normal RPM. So you have an increased load, slower RPM, and you can also do that seated and standing. So when you're standing up, even on the flats, so for some of you that live on the flats, don't be afraid if you're out riding that you interject 30 seconds to 90 seconds where you're standing up as well. So big gear is number one. Second part of this is go into a lower gear, faster legs, and you can increase muscle tension. So if I want to maintain the same watts or speed, and let's just say that I'm riding 30 kilometers per hour, roughly 18 miles an hour, and I want to maintain that same speed, I go into a lower gear, you're going to increase a lot of muscle tension doing that. Heart rate's going to come up, breathing rate's going to come up. So integrate big gear, low gear with your time trial gear, and I kind of look at percentages. You can start off in your big gear around 20%, your low gear and 20%, and the remainder 60% in your time trial gear. Number two is that you want to make sure that when you're in these positions that you actually slide back a little bit on your seat. If you're doing that, you're going to maximize the output out of your gluteal muscles, your butt muscles. And the tendency on a TT bike is that you want to come forward, take a look at your foot at the bottom of the pedal stroke and make sure it's not too plantar flexed or toes pointed downwards, because you're going to roll over the top of the pedal. So if I slide back, you may need to lower your seat a little bit, but that will help you engage your glutes. Number three, include strength training. If you're not doing strength training on that one area that I just mentioned, and also your core, you're never going to have the horsepower on the bike. And lastly, if you combine two different types of sets, and I'll describe these quickly. One I call Anaerobic Endurance, and the Anaerobic Endurance sets are short segments, typically between 25 seconds and 2 minutes. And it doesn't take a lot of these, anywhere between about 9 to 20 minutes of total exercise time. So a simple set, you might do 6 times 2 minutes, or it could be broken up into smaller pieces, 9 times a minute and a half, or a mixture of those segments I just told you. These are pretty much flat out, but allow enough recovery time so that you can generate the horsepower in doing these, or split these in a workout. So the example I gave, you might do 3 or 4 reps at the beginning of the workout and 3 or 4 reps at the end. Last thing, if you know your watts and you're looking at your FTP, you probably need to elevate that FTP by doing segments at FTP. A simple example is 5 times 5 minutes at your functional threshold power, take enough recovery so that you can hold that pace. And again, when we look at FTP, we're kind of looking at what you can do in an hour if you're time trialing and you're highly motivated. So great question. I just hit on it. Take a look at the link below for DSTC. Hey, if you've liked this information and the content in the video, please hit the subscribe button. I love pumping out the informational type of YouTube videos, so stay with me.